61 Sonos weekdays from 9 to 9 Eastern. Oh, and when you order by April 30th, you can save up to $199 on your first room of music. Plus, you get a free 30-day trial to Sirius. Just call 888-61-SONOS or go to sonos.com/100. Oh, that's SONOS.com/100.
Thanks, John.
Spring at last. Time to go outside and get active. But if you got a bad back, you can't do the things you enjoy because of the pain. There's nothing worse than back pain. But there's something to make it go away. It's called the Turtle. Endorsed by board-certified spinal surgeon Dr. Ken Burris, the Turtle works on the principles of acupressure and spinal decompression. You place it on your lower back for 20 minutes while you're at home.
Hey, this is a test.
Pain goes away. Call 877-USA-TURTLE or go to usaturtle.com. You can try it free for 30 days. Just pay shipping. If you're like thousands of people who have a closet full of products that don't work, you've got to try the Turtle. You'll be amazed. The Turtle really does work, and there's nothing to lose. The Turtle's backed by a 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Hi, this is Paula, Gloria, and this show is called Farther Down the Rabbit Hole, the Rascally Rabbit Hole.
Call 877-USA-TURTLE. Call today, and as an added bonus, you get a free bottle of their highly effective pain spray. Call 877-USA-TURTLE or go to usaturtle.com. 877-USA-TURTLE or usaturtle.com.
Come on, flat top, he goes, rolling up slowly, he got two eyeballs, he got rolling, rolling, one is, doesn't that sound like that?
Sounds a lot like it.
What is this?
This is Bex.
Oh, Bex, good Lord, that is some beer. Rheinheitsgebot. You know, Rheinheitsgebot is part of the secret why Bex is the #1 German import beer. See, Rheinheitsgebot is the beer purity law of 1516 that states beer should only be made from the purest barley malt, hops, yeast, and water. Boy, those Germans take their beer seriously. They had laws about how it had to be made. And Bex follows Rheinheitsgebot strictly. No to compromise as creates the filter that is enjoyed in countries around the world. Bex carries a distinctive full-body taste, a fresh milk bouquet, golden color rich milk, and the taste doesn't end there. Describing fruity but firm crispness. This is getting pleasant flavors and with a clean dry finish. It's time to try Bex again. With the finest ingredients of the Rheinheitsgebot Bex Pilsners, do it different.
Okay, so here I am, Paula Gloria, in Rabbit Hole Central, and I have the place all to myself because the Warren 12 crew that's moved over here to the Gramercy Park aspect of Rabbit Hole Central is now out. Nico Haupt has found all his paperwork. He was really in a pissy bad mood, but once he found it, I think as a result of all of us getting up really early, we kind of keep all wacky hours going in and out. I've got Ryan, young, handsome Ryan, who was pushing Obama the other day. I said in order to sleep on my floor, he has to master binary economics. And Ryan... I'm keeping an eye on the Howard Stern show because I've got a call into them. In any case, Ryan is learning about binary economics, and I asked him if he'd come and speak with me at St. Mark's Church once I get permission to speak at St. Mark's Church. So I'm going to be doing a show with Frank Morales, who I have huge, enormous regard for. He's got a paper here about the Pope in America. So I will do that hopefully next week with him, along with Rich Speciale, who's going to be, he's a longtime staff member at MNN, and he's going to talk about what happened on 9/11 at MNN to dispel a lot of what's going on YouTube. There's somebody who started a handle called MNN Dropped the Ball on 9/11. Now that YouTube comes up, let me mention something. I not only have several impersonators, it's now gotten worse. I have a hacker. Somebody has hacked into my account. Therefore, I will only be posting on YouTube. Anything that you see from this date forward until I remove this video and say that I'm getting cooperation from YouTube is not coming from Paula Gloria. The only way you're going to be able to have a blog with me is on paulagloria.com. But I haven't really got that ready yet. So for right now, I'm just going to pull back and totally work on my stream that's going out every day at 12 noon. And that's how you're going to learn what's going on here at Rabbit Hole Central. Do not trust anything that you see posted from, let's see, it is April 23rd. From April 23rd on, do not trust anything that you see. And once I do, if I do get cooperation from YouTube to stop this hacking, then I will continue to post because I have a valuable account up. And I will keep it up as long as it stays up. I mean, I know YouTube takes things down and we don't have a policy, and I want to start to address that. My big concern about people using my name and going in and leaving postings on other sites, I mean, I could just block them from my site, but my concern is the mischief that they could create on other people's sites, because as you know, my material is very delicate. And so there you go on that point. So let's get back to a letter that I wrote to Christine Ebersole, because I did, hang on. So now here I am listening to Howard Stern, or I'm waiting so I can get online with him and find out what's going on. I found out that Lisa G. was probably sincere in giving me the interview over the telephone, which my Howard Stern fans in Columbus, Ohio, encouraged me to take seriously and to do the interview. She was passing it along to Richard Christie, and I've pointed out some of my concerns about Richard Christie's moral behavior, and also, you know, my concern for protection of the children. And I hope to go into that more deeply on the stream today. But basically, I realized that the very, very deep comment that was made to me about the great master that I studied with in the south of India, passing on to him that Maharishi Mahesh Yogi set back spiritual development by 200 years, about 200 years. Now, this is something deeply concerning, and there was a process that I went through when I was removing myself from that cult. But also, the same master told me nothing is wasted. It's just a matter of waking up. So it doesn't matter how out of control a situation has gotten, the waking up is the important part. So if you really reflect back on this, those of you who are transcendental meditators, think about the first time you were initiated and how huge that experience of transcendence was. And you'll get an idea of the deep tantra that's involved here. Somebody told me in the south of India, again, Brahmin, very high class and well-educated yoga teachers. I mean, the lady, her father was a doctor, and they told me all about the development of yoga through the British Raj, how when the British left, the misunderstanding of the caste system made yoga practically, you know, impossible to carry on in the regular society.
Jeremy spoke ad.
I don't know if that's an ad or what. But in any case, she said that the small mantras were.
Let's find out what's happening in the Howard 100 newsroom,
It was.
and then we'll get over to John Ryan.
Doesn't look like they're going to take calls, so hang on.
What do you got there, Steve Langford? Just some of the stories working on the Howard 100 newsroom. Breaking news: the Artie Meltdown Show just released from custody. The now legendary April 10th edition of the Stern Show will be replayed all this weekend. Back-to-back replays of the Artie Rampage Show will air beginning Saturday morning, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on Howard 100. Good, that should shut up everyone who said I didn't play it.
We went from not airing it to it being a marathon.
Yeah, it's a marathon special. Now that'll be played forever.
Jesus.
You got it. Steve, how come you just don't keep going on? What are you doing?
Anyway, no, Steve.
Sometimes I just sit here and I wait for the next story and he just doesn't go.
I think that's bipolar. I think Steve sometimes thinks I'm going to try to say something funny.
Okay. Go ahead, Steve. And I apologize.
I think we're
Also today, the man, the myth, the motor mouth behind the Obama shout. Pastor James David Manning granting Howard 100 News an interview in his Harlem office. Pastor Manning explaining his extreme views about Senator Obama, calling him an emissary of the devil, among other things. Pastor Manning proclaiming Howard a pioneer, then adding, a lot of people think the pastor believes he's Howard Stern. Pastor Manning did cheerfully, bellowing a couple of Obamas for Howard 100 News. Wow.
Did you ask him about his feelings about black men in general and how they are cursed? You didn't know that, huh?
Well, he talked extensively about his work. He says he's been there 27 years, I think, in Harlem, and about how he says he's helped thousands of men in the community up there over the years. But he also has a very paternalistic, I guess, at best, view of the black community.
Does he really believe that the black people are not ready to be president of the United States?
I don't know whether he said that. He did say that black people. He did say that black people need to be. He's much better expressing it.
We'll make you a red
but it's very controversial and very extreme.
I'm surprised that he still even has a congregation. What do I know? What else you got for us, Steve?
Also today, will Benji Bronk do for Paris Hilton what he's done for the Stern Show crew? Gross the bejesus out of them. Stakova continuing to lead the pack in the online voting to be Paris Hilton's best friend for a new so-called reality show. Benji posting his required videos on the Paris BFF website. But the video is looking more likely to get Bronk slapped with a restraining order for being creepy than actually getting him cast on the show.
Let me ask you something about that. Do they have to take you if you win the online polling? Don't they usually just use that as a publicity stunt and then choose whoever they want, Benji?
Yeah, they do their rules like our rules, kind of like they
Right.
say they can pick whoever they want.
In other words, there's no rules.
Right, but
There
I
really
think
is no content.
Right.
they say they're going to give interviews for sure to the final 10, which I think I'd definitely be in.
All right, good, man. I'd love to see you on that show. What else you got?
Also, Riley Martin guest starring in an episode of a new series on the Cartoon Network called Squidbillies.
I saw Squidbillies. I saw it with Riley.
Really?
Yeah.
He's got a legitimate job?
It's on the internet. He plays a villain on Squidbillies. And it's him. It is Riley Martin. It's his real voice. He plays like a... He got a legitimate job.
I'm very impressed that he actually was able to do that.
I wish I had a clip of it. I'll get one. I'll do that for tomorrow. Go ahead.
And Riley playing one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, barking out his usual barrage of bombast, bile, BS, and below. And if you see Stern News happening, we want to know about it. Give us a call on the Howard 100 News tip line 877-33 Series, choose channel 100, or email us at howard100news@sirius-radio.com.
Are you nervous when you read the news? I see a handshake a little bit.
I'd say 10%.
Really? Wow.
I mean,
After all these years, huh?
That's a problem. Well, I've always said that doing the headlines on this show is kind of like delivering the news to a firing squad.
I see. All right. Well, calm down, man. Everyone's
But
getting back.
but it's great.
We love you.
We're not mad at you. We're super on the news. All right, there he is. This is the great
Howard 100 reporter. Steve, what is your name?
He never says his last name. That's his thing. You'll see, Mark.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. All right, Steve Langford, everyone. Here's John Hine from the wrap-up show. Go ahead, Johnny.
Show favorite Mark Harris stopped by with a man who decided to finally put him into the movies, Damien from the original Omen. We'll talk about how the aging queen is holding up these days, how he's only got $100,000 and Howard won't be attending his funeral, how Harvey, who played Damien, didn't resemble that creepy, scary kid, and who thinks Mark's relationship with Harvey Weinstein will pay dividends in his show business future.
Right.
Plus, Scott Weiland explained why he's getting back together with Stone Temple Pilots, and Howard reminded him that Velvet Revolver had no chance of ever staying together.
That's right.
We'll discuss how Scott sounded, how he's managed to stay married, how comfortable he is with STP, since they know all of his faults and strengths, and we'll see who thinks the band will remain together or suffer the same fate that Velvet Revolver did. Plus, everyone here likes Benji until they realize he disgusts them. Artie felt Teddy should be paying off his loan before flaunting his cash. Robin earns 2 perfect 10s in the How Crazy Is Robin game. Artie calls the concierge to clean his toilet, and Gary hovers in the Grand Canyon and misses. No one is sure what to tip. Nick DiPaolo has a sore in his lip, and everything else that happened on today's show will be
Burns his lip on an egg. All right, thank you, John Hine. I appreciate that. Let's go to Chad. Chad, you are on the air in Westchester, New York. Go ahead, Chad.
Yeah. Hey, just wanted to give Howard TV another 2 thumbs up. The Artie blowout was outrageous. It was funny. You got to play it back and look at it when I tell you. Look at Will's face and Gary's face. It looked like they turned around and saw the fucking tsunami coming at them. Artie was charging out the fucking door.
Well, it was kind of like our own tsunami.
And real, one quick thing I want to stick up for Teddy. I saw Artie at one of the shows once, and I gave JD $50 just to buy drinks. I saw them at the next show, and you know what they said they did with the $50?
What?
They paid for parking because they didn't want to overcharge Artie's account.
Well, there you go. They care about their Artie. Thank you, Chad. All right, Robin, it's time for news. Yeah, I don't know. The story was lame. Let's go to news.
I've got black snatch fever. Yeah, black snatch fever. Robin's got a shrunken body.
Okay. Okay, back again here, and let me elaborate on this, the point that I was making. And you'll see what my position is, and you'll understand a lot about me after this show. Okay, I'm listening to Howard Stern because I'm trying to find out what's actually going on. Do they actually like my show? Was I actually interviewed by Lisa G because I had admiration for what I was doing? Or was it more about damage control? Because I had mentioned that one of the punk callers that called me in, I saw on the internet had dark comedy. And one of the comedy routines, it was only a minute or so, had to do with having sex with a child. Now, I can't turn my back on where my energy comes from. And when you get involved with the powerful masters, I was explaining with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and I'll go into that more, again to explain why it could possibly be true that spiritual development was set back 200 years because of the practice of transcendental meditation. This is a very strong claim, but here's where I'm at right now on it. I was blessed by a powerful master when I came to the south of India via Thailand, and children were advertised in the room that Molly and I were staying in. And I thought, my God, you know, if women like us get advertisements like this, what kind of country is it that doesn't protect their children? And in Thailand, you'd go around and you'd look at all the sites, and it was always Buddhism, and it made me hate Buddhism. It made me hate that kind of passive attitude to not take a stand to do something. And I think something about Christianity, you know, one real upside of Christianity is this aspect of charity. And keeping in mind that Jesus was Jewish, and that the Jewish religion, the Christian religion, the Islamic religion all goes back to the sacrifice of Abraham, you really have to understand and command and master what is meant by the sacrifice of Abraham and what is meant by sacrifice in general. So, in the situation of pedophilia means if you can't take care of your children, then a child who is young is introduced to energies that are far stronger than his tender nervous system can handle. And of course, he's going to gravitate towards the pleasure. But real culture, real cultivation and refinement means taking powerful experiences that indeed may involve pleasure and using them in such a way that courage and advancement, intelligence and brightness and joyfulness is brought into your life. And this is something that is what childhood is all about. It's what good attentive parents are all about. It's what good education is all about. It's a good relationship between the leadership, the government in a country, and the people and the followers. And this is why when I read, or that was read to me over the internet, Confessions of a Pedophile, this is why I was so deeply impressed, because I realized that in the pursuit of a quick pleasure that others can get, they can obstruct even to themselves a human being's greatest need, which is a need to contribute. So if one of our greatest needs is a need to contribute, then the more powerfully we can contribute, the more deeply we'll be satisfied. And instead of going for the short-term pleasure, you can extend it out and make the necessary sacrifice, which in the long run will not be a sacrifice, because you will have cultivated and multiplied the experience. So now what I'm trying to say is that perhaps an experience like transcendental meditation could have been an energy that was prematurely introduced into nervous systems that were not really prepared, and into a culture that's not really prepared. So oftentimes you'll find that masters are criticized by fellow masters. I know in the case of where I got this comment about Maharishi setting back spiritual development 200 years through the powerful practice of transcendental meditation, the very master that was purported to have come from was told and criticized by his peers that what he was trying to do was like turning chickens into peacocks. So in other words, what we're talking about is a vast body of knowledge that understands the importance of spiritual knowledge and spiritual information and how to give that out. And generally speaking, the caste system is set up so that this knowledge is protected, so that you have people who have the leisure time, have the relaxation, not being all anxious and stressed out over their livelihood, that they can in a relaxed way apply themselves and understand what needs to be understood, which once is incorporated into their system, the pleasure of real knowledge is tremendous. After that's incorporated, then they can go out and bring this into society, either directly talking about it or indirectly just by radiating harmony in their own life. So what I'm doing is I'm making a parallel between pedophilia and the importance of not introducing immature systems to too powerful energies until they're ready for it, and that a sexual initiation is a very delicate process. So should be a spiritual initiation. And like I was told, and it took me years to understand, in the south of India, these bijakshra, it means a seed. These little tiny sounds that are given, these mantras, replace learning long paragraphs and shlokas that are done by the Brahmin caste, because they're given out in a time of desperation, because the Brahmins, for whatever reason, are not doing their chanting. Either they're, in such financial straits, because after the British left and the caste system was on the surface dissolved, and you started to have high political position go to lower castes, or they were becoming favorited. I think it was called tokenism, and this is what Webster Tarpley was pointing out with the Obama situation, that Obama's preacher appeals only to a certain elite of the black community, and that elite that has benefited from tokenism, while the rest of the black community is saddled with wretched poverty. So in that way, we can see that if the Brahmins are not doing their job, because there's been a misunderstanding that's been perpetuated throughout society, the benefit won't be in society because of them protecting it. And then these bijakshras can just be given out relatively indiscriminately. Not only was Maharishi giving knowledge out to outcasts, all of us Westerners are outside of their caste system, he would even initiate women. And if that wasn't bad enough, he would make women teachers. Now, Maharishi always tried to honor his tradition, and I know in the case of teaching transcendental meditation in San Quentin prison, it was really said that women shouldn't do it. The reason I did it was because no man wanted to go into the prisons and do it, and that's why I did it. And once I went in there, I was very, very comfortable. It felt like the right place to be, because I'm sort of built for the fight, and that's evident with the work that I'm doing, protecting the deepest aspect of 9/11 research, which is in the area of TV fakery. I had been babbling on and on about how sites were being taken down, and because mine wasn't taken down, people consider me a Zionist shill, a Zionist Jew-hating shill. I get it. You can't please anybody on that. But I think one of the most awful imaginable things happened. My site wasn't taken down, but something even worse. It was hacked into, which means that people now, whoever this force is, has the power to go in my name, start to leave comments. And the comments that are going to be left, if this person exercises this power, could really, really devastate and harm people. So I'm putting this show out as a method of damage control. I'm not going to be answering any comments on my YouTube site. I don't dare. Anything that comes from Paula Gloria, this isn't just an impersonator that I can ask YouTube to take down. This is a matter of figuring out the hacking. Now, I've only heard of hacking as being a problem recently, but if, you know, or maybe I wasn't noticing it because I was only concerned with the copyright infringement and the prejudice with which that was executed. The hacking is a big, big problem. So any kind of comment that you want from me, you'll either have to go to rabbitholecentral.tv and call in, or go to paulagloria.com, but you know, I haven't set that up yet. I want to also say that my involvement with Nico Haupt continues. I have great admiration for his research and for his courage. The incident that we had at Ground Zero, that was a posting that I put up, and you can definitely see that he was not as in the wrong as I feel other people who were far more violent were. And I'm concerned about those people too. I don't X anybody out, Luke Radowski and so on. I'm not about throwing hatred on anybody. I'm about working with everything that we have and staying connected and working as hard as I can to have a media that is reliable as possible. And so if I was called up and given an interview to sort of shut up in the hopes that I would cooperate and have a show with the very person who I had called a pedophile, or that he was certainly, I mean, the way his humor went, it certainly seemed that he had a familiarity that was far too close for comfort for me. And so when I sat in front of this great master, in tears, weeping, and expressing my concern about sex slavery, which is what I had heard about before I came to India, and then giving the very real experience that I had in this hotel in Thailand, and then feeling really badly that I'm in front of a master and I'm crying, that you know, I'm so weak that I'm crying, and so I'm wiping off my tears and I'm saying, I'm so weak, and what I meant was I recognized my inability to hook the energy that was necessary to even call forth a solution. But because I was weeping and because I articulated my weakness, the master responded and he said something. He said, no, you're not weak, you're very strong. And from that point on, he took a great interest in me. It baffled people in the ashram, the kind of attention he would give me, even though I was locked out from the inner circle where people had secrets. Now, I knew in my heart, I had confidence that I had put my request out and it would be answered. I don't know how I can explain it, but I had that confidence. And so that means that if he's a master of the stature that I believe he is, as demonstrated by the miracles, cutting the head off a bird and putting it back on again, and I've heard people describe the energy when that miracle was happening, then that means he has a commitment to me. If he said he would teach me how to do this, he told me he would teach me the sexual energies, but he didn't. And the reason he didn't was because I couldn't go in the inner circles, and the reason I couldn't is because my mouth is too big. I cannot keep a secret. But on the other hand, when he works with everything, I also learned from his teaching and being at his ashram that he didn't shun the things that I used to see shunned when I was around the pristine transcendental meditation cult. And I think there were valuable things that I learned in that organization / cult. And again, cult, it has the same root as culture. But it wasn't enough, and he wanted to take me to a deeper level. And that's why when I went to the Brahmin yoga teachers and they said, why are you dealing with Tantra? You know, a nice lady like you. And I said, because I'm at my wit's ends with my charity and I want to really help these problems. So by this master having knowledge that he wouldn't give me for my own good because I couldn't keep a secret, he gave me lots and lots of hints. And I hung around, and I had the privilege of being able to go in and out of the ashram at will. And I went to all the power spots around India. I went to Sri Lanka. I went up to Kashmir. I saw the purported burial site of Jesus. Some say Jesus is actually buried at the ashram in Penakonda, who knows? Some say they take great masters and they split up their body and they bury them all over the place. I know a tooth of the Buddha is supposed to be in Sri Lanka, and my girlfriend Molly definitely felt the energy from across the street in Sri Lanka. So these power objects are very real. So I also, in the Tibetan refugee camp, read the entire Quran. So I read the Quran, an Islamic holy book, in a Buddhist, relatively holy spot. And I say relatively because even though it was a refugee camp, it did not have low, bad vibes because people were going around all day with their malas, counting off mantras. So the India that I saw was an India where I saw it through the eyes of the devoted and the faithful. Now you may say they're the misled, there's an argument for that, but I didn't see the people living on the beaches in the shanty towns that the tsunamis devastated. I mean, there was an even more horrible part of India that I never saw. But I did stand in line for hours and hours and hours at Tirupati with the poor people, rather than paying 200 rupees and getting relatively fast-tracked into a line that would only take me an hour. And I watched and I listened and I connected, and I had more experiences that I'd like to share with you, but until I feel really secure, which I don't now that my site's been hacked into, I just want to call to your attention, and this is a message for the Howard Stern people, because I know that a person that people suspected that I was being approached, that I would replace, is setting up something in the Middle East. I think that's a great idea, to set up something in the Middle East, because I think you need to physicalize the internet. But I also say, pay attention. If somebody is being hacked, then the flip side of it is somebody can be supported. And I say, can we not support our work with content? And can we not give to the viewer something that will be of huge value to them? And what could be of greater value to the viewer than the skill and the knowledge, the wisdom and the understanding to protect their children? So, this is Paula Gloria, and this is my statement. Do not trust anything that you see left on YouTube that has the name Paula Gloria, because it's not me until I take this video down, and I won't take this video down until I have cooperation from YouTube. Thank you very much. Over and out.